we're halfway through. We're more than halfway through the Blessings deck. And she needs to move somewhere. Well, she was going to be dealt 1 fire damage at the start of the turn. She'll take on the Cold Iron Mace. And now she has to deal with the Sin Seeker. At the start of your turn, succeeded a combat check equal to 9 plus twice the scenario's adventure deck number. So that's going to be a total of 13 to beat this guy. We're going to use Life Drain. For your combat check, discard this card to use your Arcane or Divine Skill plus 2d4. Shuffle 1 random card from your discard pile into your deck. 1 random card goes into the deck. So d12 and 2d4 plus 4. Plus 4 is 17. So we do defeat the Sin Seeker, and that can go away now. We used a spell, so we get to recharge a random spell from our deck. I mean our discard pile, if there are any, which there are not. So we get to try to recharge this, and it would be an Arcane 9. So a d12 plus 4. To get a 9. We get a 7, so we do to recharge that. And she hasn't even explored yet. Now, we need to choose to move. So she could go to the Dark Forest, or she could go to the Abyssal Rift. Begin the scenario with the side up. Blessings played by characters. This location, this side's never permanently closed. So she could go there, and that would cause it to flip. If she wanted to explore, she would absolutely encounter a monster. I guess that's relatively fine. Carrion Golem, Combat 14. You may not play spells that have the attack trait. What was I just saying about how that was fine? Before you act, discard the top card of your deck. If undefeated, discard the top 2 cards of your deck. Top card of my deck is a spell. This is a spell and it has the attack trait, so I cannot use it. Which means I'm facing a straight combat test, which is a d6 for melee. So you can give me a Blasting of Baphomet. Or Shax. Actually, it's probably fine. So I could have 3d6, which is possible to get a 14 with. Yeah, it looks like it's going to be Blessing of Shax and rolling 3d6 to get a 14. A 1 is not helping. Not helping at all. Alright, so we got 10 to get a 14, which means we lose everything in our hand. And he's undefeated, so then we discard the top 2 cards of our deck. And suddenly we're in pretty tough shape, because now she doesn't have enough cards to reset her hand. He goes back into the deck. This gets shuffled now, so now the monsters are no longer on top. Now Imrijka needs to use the Silver Raven figurine. Recharge this card to give 1 weapon, armor, or item to another character. She's going to recharge that to send the Wardstone Fragment to Enora. It's an item. This will keep her alive. She resets her hand at the end of her turn. Now she will have 6 cards. And no cards in her deck. And this will flip. Not a good situation. We gotta figure this out here, how to help her. The Wardstone Fragment can probably be used. There might be a less drastic way to do it, though. Imrijka needs to move over to the Dark Forest, and she does nothing to fight with, so she's certainly not going to explore. But now I think we'll use Social Vanic. Bury this card and choose a character at your location to shuffle 1d4 plus 1 random cards from his discard pile into his deck. I choose me. And I get only 3 cards, which is not super really. But it is better than nothing. And that will be the end of her turn. Nothing else happening there, so she will pass play to Seelah, who's still plugging away through her deck at the canyon. And she encounters Belthus Loomis. Craft 6 or Charisma Diplomacy 9. That would be a d10 plus 2 for us. We get a 2, that's a 4, so we definitely did not get that. Belthus Loomis goes away. Doesn't have a Mega Explorer, so we've got to send play to Enora. She's going to move away from here. She's going to go over with Imrijka, who's going to heal her up. This does say that when it's not occupied, flip this card, so it'll flip back to the Abyssal Rift. She is not going to do anything. Pass play to Imrijka, who is going to use Cure. Reveal this card and choose a character at your location. Shuffle 1d4 plus 1 random cards from their discard pile into their deck. Then discard this card. And she gets a 4, so that is 5 cards back to Enora, which is actually 1 short of what she needs to be safe, but that's still much better than it is right now. After playing this card, if you don't have the Divine Tree, banish it. Otherwise, you may succeed at a Divine 8 to recharge instead of discarding, so that would be a d8 plus 1. And we get a 7, so we actually do recharge it. Nice. She has not explored yet. Could be risky, because if they do any damage, well, I guess it's probably okay now. Alright, Carrion Golem. Oh wait, we're supposed to get 2, aren't we? Examine the top 2 cards, shuffle 1 into the deck and encounter the other. Betrayal Demon or Carrion Golem. Well, he's bad because he takes a card right off the top of our deck. So let's see what this guy's about. Combat 16, immune to electricity and poison. During the encounter you may not play allies. Other characters at your location may not play cards or powers. After the encounter succeeded, Wisdom 9 check or another random character at your location is dealt 1d6 combat damage. Okay, that's bad. So no, we're going to shuffle him back into the deck. So there's a 14. Before you act, discard the top card of your deck. This was the first exploration though, so she can use Baphomet. Okay, so it'll be a composite bow. For your combat check, reveal this card to use your dexterity or range skill plus your strength die. So that's going to be 2d10 plus 2 more for mythics, so that's 4. We're going to use Blessing of Baphomet, which is going to give us 2 more d10. So 4d10 plus 4 now to get a 14. And we just knocked one of those dice over. Luckily, we do have the plus 4, so it's 17 total to defeat the Carrion Golem, and he is defeated. And this is Imrijka, so she can roll a d6 to see if she can explode again. But gets a 1, so she cannot do so with that. However, she could use the Raconteur, although she's quite low on health too. But she still has weapons in hand, so yeah, let's go ahead and use the Raconteur. Of course, we shuffled it, and he's still on top. Okay, combat 16. This is not going to be good. During this encounter, you may not play allies. Other characters at your location may not play cards or use powers. Well, we've got the same thing here. 2d10 plus 4. Right at this time, I think we're going to actually have to expel a mythic charge. You may expend 1 or more charges. If you do, ignore effects that increase the difficulty of the check, and when you assemble your die, for each expended charge, replace one of your highest non-d20 dice with a d20. We're going to expend a mythic charge, so it's still going to be plus 4, but now we're going to be rolling a d20 and a d10 plus 4, which I don't really feel great about. Well, that's all we've got. I don't see any other way to do it. Well, we got a 15 and a 1, which is 16, plus 4 would be 20. So actually we did defeat him. We did defeat him. But now we have to roll this Wisdom 9 check, which is a d8 for us. We cannot make that, actually. Nobody has a blessing to give us, so we can't make that. So another random character or location is dealt 1d6 combat damage. We have to roll a d6. And we get a 4. It is combat damage. Okay, so we can recharge this card to reduce all damage to you by 1. So now it's 3 damage, and it's going to have to be 3 spells. So we'll get rid of Fiery Glare, keep Life Drain, because that's going to give us a card back. He goes away at least. And now she can roll a d6 to see if she can explore again. And of course, that's when we get the 1. That wasn't super. We might end up having to use the Wordstone Fragment right now, or soon, real soon. Anyway, passing play to Seelah, still at the canyon. Still exploring. And she finds the Vescavor Queen. Okay. Well, we don't have anyone here. We could bury a blessing to flip this card, but that's only when closing. Definitely escape to the Abyssal Rift. Succeed a Wisdom or Survival check with a difficulty of 7 plus the scenario's adventure deck number. So that would be 9. Wisdom or Survival, which we have a d8 for, and no blessings. So we cannot make that check either, right? Recharge this card to add 1 to your non-combat check or 2 to your non-combat charisma, diplomacy, or strength check. It could help. So if we recharge this to add 1 to a non-combat check, that would give us a d8 plus 1 to get a 9. d8 plus 1, we need an 8. We get a 7. So close. So we do not temporarily close that, and this is recharged. The Vescavor Queen is immune to acid and poison. All damage dealt by the Vescavor Queen is acid damage. The difficulty of checks to defeat that do not have the ranged or attack trait is increased by 1d6. Oh, fiddlesticks, because we don't have the ranged trait. It's increased by 1d6. Alright, well, get a 2. Alright, so it's going to go up by 2, which makes her 22. If undefeated, a random character or location is dealt 1d4 minus 1 acid damage. So 22. We can use the long spear. For your combat check, reveal this card to use your strength and melee skill plus 1d8. If you fail this check, you may discard this card to re-roll the dice and take the second result. So I think that is the wise choice. So Scale of Sacred Weaponry. Recharge this card to add 1 to your combat check, or 2 if you put a weapon on the check, so we'll do that. So now we are looking at 2d8 plus So plus 8. So 2d8 plus 8. And I guess she's going to use a mythic charge to roll a d20 as well. So it's going to be a d20 and a d8 plus 8. d20 and a d8 plus 8. Oh, and she gets a 19 on that d20 and a 5. Yeah, we defeated the Vescavor Queen, no problem. But she is going to get to escape. So this, find out. Well, we don't know where she's going to escape actually, but one of these two places anyway. This could work in our favor. We'll have to see. Right, and that closes this location. On closing, shuffle each location deck. Well, we just did that, but we'll do it again. Reset Seelah's hand. Pass play to Enora. Now, Enora's in tough shape here. She has enough cards to reset her hand, thankfully. We could use the Wordstone fragment here. I mean, it wouldn't be the worst idea. But I think what we're going to do is just have her move to the Wounded Lands, which is a relatively safe place at the moment, and reset her hand. And she has a little bit of support that she can give, and 2 cards still in her hand. That'll be the end of her turn. Imrijka is still here at the Dark Forest, so she's going to explore the top 2 cards. And it's the Vescavor Queen, of course. Well, actually, we get to shuffle 1 back into the deck. What do we want to do? Actually, that would probably be best if we just encountered it, wouldn't it? Because then it would send her there. And yeah, as long as we beat her. Because we do miss out on the Unholy Aspergillum. And she will have the ranged trait, so we don't have to worry about the extra 1d6. Alright, we're going to shuffle this back in. We're going to encounter the Vescavor Queen. She's immune to acid and poison. Difficulty of checks doesn't affect us, so she's combat 20. And we're going to use our composite bow, so that would be, as a base, would be 2d10 plus 3. 2d10 plus 3 as a base. When playing another weapon, you may discard the corrosive dagger to add 1d4 plus 1 to your check. 2d10, we'll use Blessing of Abraxas, so that would be 3d10 now, plus 3. And then we're going to use the corrosive dagger, so now we're going to be doing 3d10 plus a d4 plus 4. 3d10 and a d4 plus 4, which gives us a total of 22. So we do defeat the Vescavor Queen, which means this closes. At the end of your turn, recharge your hand. She escapes over there. Now, granted, there's 12 cards in there, so that's going to slow us down. But let's see what we can manage to pull out here. Play goes to Seelah, who of course is going to move to the Abyssal Rift. Explores and finds a Blessing of Nethys. Wisdom Perception 8 or Divine 5. That would be a d8 plus 1 for us to get Nethys. And we only get a 4, so we did not acquire that. She has the Demon Hunter. She could explore again. She probably should. Discard this card to explore a location. During this exploration, add 1d6 to your checks against Banes that have the Demon trait. And it's a Vescavor Swarm. Can't close this location, though. This side of the location is always open. Bury a blessing to flip this card. Now, we can't... There is no way for us to close it, because we don't have a blessing in hand. So, Vescavor Swarm is immune to the poison trait. If the check to defeat has the attack trait, add 1d8. If you play a weapon during this encounter, banish it. If defeated by at least 4, plus the Snare's Adventure deck number, well, that's not going to come into play. So we are fighting in 11. And we're going to use the Long Spear again. So it'll be 2d8 plus 5 to get an 11. 2d8 plus 5 to get an 11. And there's 9 plus 5 is 14. So we do defeat the Vescavor Swarm. So that is unfortunately the end of her turn. She's going to reset her hand and pass play to Enora, who has the Sacred Prism. She will bury this card to add 1d4 cards from the discard pile of a character at your location into their deck. And we get 3. Alright, so she's a little bit better off now than she was. I guess she'll just reset up to 6. So yeah, she's just going to hang out there and pass play to Imrijka, who's going to move over with Seelah. Oh, this would have flipped, by the way. And Imrijka explores and finds an Arboreal Blight. Each character summons and encounters the Henchman Fiendish trait. This is definitely one of the worst barriers in the game. The barrier is defeated or undefeated based solely on your encounter. If any Fiendish trees were not defeated, roll a d20. If the result is less than or equal to the number of Fiendish trees that were not defeated, summon and encounter the Henchman Ulkreth. And we all have to fight it. The difficulty to defeat is increased by twice the Snare's Adventure deck number, so he is going to be a 17. Fiendish Tree is immune to mental and poison. If the check to defeat has the fire trait, add 1d8. I wish we would. Before you act, he deals 1 range combat damage to you. After you act, he deals 1 range combat damage to you. So he's horrible, basically. We're going to handle Imrijka's first. So he is a 17, and he's going to deal 1 range combat damage to us. We're taking on the heavy crossbow. We have the glaive +1. For your combat check, reveal this card to use your strength and melee skill plus 1d10 plus 1. If you fail this check, you may discard this card to re-roll the dice and take the new result. So that would be 2d10 plus 4 with the mythic charge. Not very good. 2d10 plus 4 to get a 17. We're going to use the mythic charge. So now it's going to be a d20 and a d10 plus 4. And we get a 15 and a 3 and 4. So that's 18 and 22. So she does defeat him by using that mythic charge. After you act, the fiendish tree deals 1 range combat damage to you, which we will take on the fortune teller. Now Imrijka's in bad shape because she's only got 2 cards. Alright, that's 1 defeated. So the barrier will be defeated. Barrier is defeated or undefeated based solely on your encounter. Now let's move over to Seelah. She's got to encounter this guy. 1 range combat damage to you. Well, we can recharge this to reduce the damage. We have the long spear for your combat check. Reveal this card to use your strength and melee skill plus 1d8. If you fail this check, you may discard this card to reroll the dice and take the second result. So that would be 2d8 plus a total of 4. And she's going to use her ability, discard the top card of your deck to add 1d6 to any check by a character at your location. So now it's going to be 2d8 plus a d6 plus 4. But right now it looks like a 2d8 and a d6 plus 4. Oh boy, that's not good. So we only got 16. 1 short, actually. So it wasn't that bad, but still 1 short. So he's going to do a damage to us from that, and then he's going to do a combat damage to us from that. So, magic half plate. We charge this to take the combat damage. Eagle Knight dress uniform. We'll recharge that to take the other damage after the fact. And that's annoying. So that's 1 that we didn't defeat. And now it is over to Enora. She has life drain. For your combat check, discard this card to use your arcane or divine skill plus 2d4. Shuffle 1 random card from your discard pile into your deck. She's casting a spell, so she's automatically going to get 1 spell recharged. So it's going to be a random spell. And now it would be 2d4 plus, d12 plus 2d4 plus 4, since she still has 2 mythic charges sitting here. And she's going to use a Blessing of Daskari. Oh, sorry. First she had to take a damage. She would take it on that. Oh, no, wait. No, she wouldn't. She would recharge the scale to take it on that. Then you're going to use the Blessing of Daskari. If the top card of the Blessing's discard pile has a corrupted trait, discard this card to add 2 dice plus the Snare's adventure deck number to your check. So, now we'll be rolling 3d12 plus 2d4 plus 6. And considering all those dice, still not that high, actually. We get a 19, and then we're plus 6, so 25 total. So we do defeat Fiendish Tree, and then he's going to deal 1 range combat damage to us, which we'll take on the Lemurian Discourses. Okay, so he is going to go away. And now we have to roll a d20. If the result is less than or equal to the number of Fiendish Trees that were not defeated, we'd have to do Ulkreth. And we get a 7, so we do not have to deal with Ulkreth. Enora tries to recharge Life Drain. That's an Arcane 10, so a d12 plus 4. And get a 9 plus 4, so we do recharge that. And so she actually gained a little bit there. She's got 2 cards in hand already. Oh wait, this is not her turn. No, this would get rid of this anyway. Arboreal Blight goes away. Now, Imrijka did beat her Fiendish Tree. She could explore again. Well, she could potentially explore again with the d6. Let's see. Alright, she would get to explore again. Oh, blessings played with character's location at d12. Shoot. So she explores again. She still is okay. It really would depend on what she was fighting. Okay. Giant Cockroach. Combat 8. Before you act, another character at your location summons and encounters a giant cockroach. If the check to defeat has the bludgeoning trait, add 1d8. Neither one of us has bludgeoning, unfortunately. Seelah is going to use the long spear versus it, though, so it's going to be 2d8 plus 3. No, 2d8 plus 5. Have I been doing that wrong? I think I have. 2d8 plus 5 to get an 8. Almost can't fail that one. So she's successful. Now Imrijka, glaive plus 1. So 2d10 plus 2. We used both of her mythic charges, so 2d10 plus 2. Six. So that's going to be 2 damage to her. Okay, he's going to go back. She got 6. That's 2 damage. I don't have to be on these. It's not the end of her turn yet, so she's going to use Cure. Reveal this card and choose a character at location. Shuffle 1d4 plus 1 random cards from their discard pile into their deck. And we're going to get 4 cards, 4 random cards back. Those get shuffled in. If we can get a Divine 8, we can recharge this. So that would be an D8 plus 1. And we only get a 2. So we did not recharge Cure, but that was the second time we used it, so that's not bad. Now it's the end of her turn. She does have enough cards to reset her hand, thankfully. We're in rough shape here, all around, aren't we? This now flips back over. Play goes to Seelah. It's pretty unlikely that we're going to win this at this point. We basically need to encounter the villain right now. Reveal this card and discard a card to examine the top card of a location deck at a location that has the Abyssal trait. We'll reveal this. Here it is. We'll discard Chuffy. This does have the Abyssal trait, so we're going to examine the top card, and it's Blessing of Abadar, which is not exactly what we need, although it might help Seelah. Probably should have been using that earlier. So she's going to encounter that. Blessing of Abadar. Dexterity disable 5 or 6 or Divine 5. Really would like to get that. So that would be a D8 plus 1. Imrijka could spend a blessing, although it's not wise. D8 plus 1. We're just going to have to take our chances here. We get a 7, so we do acquire the Blessing of Abadar. Unfortunately, Enora does not have any other cards with which to use this power. So Seelah's going to use this, just run in blind. And it's a Blessing of Ascension! Oh my goodness. Okay, Charisma 6 or Divine 5. So this time we can use the Charisma. That's going to be a D10 plus 1 plus the Mythic charge. So D10 plus 2 to get a 6. And we get a 5. Plus 2 is 7, so we do get it. Well, we're getting there. Discard this to explore again. And it's Cure. Wisdom Divine 6. Okay. D8 plus 1 to get a 6. That would allow her to heal Imrijka. Alright, so Imrijka will give her a blessing. So now she's going to be rolling 2d8 plus 1 to get a 6. And she does acquire that. And she's going to use it. Roll a d4. Well, she only gets 2 cards back, but it's better than nothing. So then she needs to make a Divine 8, so it's a d8 plus 1. And we get a 1, so we do not recharge Cure. That's the end of her turn. She resets back up to 5 cards. It'd be nice if she got a blessing. There she goes. Over to Enora, who can at least reset her hand. She could run in and be crazy. No, that would obviously be silly. She's just going to reset her hand. That will give her the ability to use the Wordstone Fragment a couple times, though. That's 6 cards. Passing play to Imrijka. Now, we're going to use the Wordstone Fragment first. Reveal this card and discard a card to examine the top card of a location at a location that has the Abyssal trait. So, we will discard Create Pit. And it's a giant cockroach. All that does is let us examine it. But now we know what's there, so we're going to have, both of them are going to have to fight that. So Imrijka does this. She fights the giant cockroach, but first Seelah fights the giant cockroach. Still doesn't have the bludgeoning trait, but we're going to use Radiance. So that will be a D8, 2D8 and a D4 plus 6. We can't even fail that, actually. Okay, so that's good. We defeated that. Now Imrijka, she has the composite bow, so we're going to be doing 2d10 plus 1. No, yeah, 2d10 plus 2, actually. 2. Oh my gosh, the rolls. 6 plus 2 is still 8, so we make it. We beat it. Okay. Vermin, she rolls a d6 now to see if she can explore again. Gets a 6. Can explore again. Carrion Golem. You may apply spells that have attack trait before you act. Discard the top card of your deck. Well, let's make sure that we're not undefeated here. Well, for starters, I think we can use this. Recharge this card to give one weapon. Recharge this card to allow another character to give one weapon, armor, or item to you. Okay. What if Enora gave us the Cold Iron Mace? Would that help? Not really. Well, it helps in that fact that it gives us another card. Yeah, alright. We're going to recharge that. And Enora's going to give us that Cold Iron Mace. So, 2d10 plus 2. And then she's going to give us another one, so Blessing of Abadar, so it's going to be 3d10 plus 2 to get a 14. 3d10 plus 2 to get a 14. And please don't. Please don't. Oh my goodness. 2s on all of them. That would be a total of not enough. That's what that would be. A total of not enough. Carrion Golem's tough. I really don't like him. That was 8, and he's a 14, so it would be 6 damage. So it's our whole hand, and then we don't have enough cards in our hand to reset, which means she would be dead. And this guy's still around. Alright. We've never had a character die before, but we have the Wardstone Fragment, so we're going to bring her back to life. Well, we're going to use the Wardstone Fragment, remove this card from the game, to allow each character to shuffle a hand, buried cards, and discard pile into their deck, and then draw his hand size and cards. Okay, so this says... We've removed this card from the game to allow each character to shuffle his hand, buried cards, and discard pile into his deck, then draw his hand and hand sizing cards. It says allow. It doesn't say you have to. So I'm saying that Seelah, who is, she's got all her best weapons, or has most of her weapons anyway, in hand. She's not going to do it. Right? And that is going to be the end of Imrijka's turn. This is the last blessing that we have. This would flip over because that was Imrijka's turn. We're going to pass play to Seelah, who explores and finds the Vescavor Queen. And combat 20. Difficulty of the checks to defeat that do not have the ranged or attack trait is increased by 1d6. Okay, so it's actually going to be more than 1d20. And we'll probably get a 6. Well, close enough. We got a 25. I mean, it's now a 25. So, we have Radiance. For your combat check, reveal this card. You use your strength or melee skill plus 1d8. We're not going to discard it. We're going to use our paladin trait, though. 1d4 plus 1. Imrijka is going to give us a blessing of Baphomet, which gives us 2 dice. So now we'll be looking at 48 plus a d4 plus 5. Enora will give us a blessing of Ascension. So we'll now be doing 5d8. And a d4, plus whatever else, and we got a 27, so we actually defeat the Vescavor Queen, and we managed to finish the scenario. Okay, the reward. Draw the troop Knights of Canabras from the box, and gain a medal on it. Each character gains a power feat. Okay, so this is a new thing that they've introduced with this adventure deck. New rule, Troops. Sword of Valor introduces a new type of support card, Troops. Certain scenarios in this adventure require you to display the troop Knights of Canabras. When a card tells your party to gain a medal on it, check one box on the front of it. So, then we have these, Knights of Canabras. While displayed, any character may add 1d6 to a check to defeat a barrier that has the army trait that uses one of the following check skills. Strength, Dexterity, Constitution. I mean, Strength is probably the one to go for, right? Righteous Medal of Valor, because we have 2 characters that use Strength basically for their, well, not basically, do use Strength for their combat. So yeah, I guess we'd check off the Righteous Medal of Valor. Each character gains a power feat, which is nice. We just gained a power feat, so now we get another one. That's a nice ability right there, or any character at your location, although we tend to split up. Should probably do the or item. I think Imrijka will drop this, it will do the 3, because better chance of being able to explore again. And Seelah really doesn't have much other than this one, so it'll probably be that. Well, that was a tough one. It feels like it's taken 2 hours to play this, and I really have no idea. We'll see how long the video ends up. It could be a 2-parter. We'll have to find out. But thanks for watching, and thanks for subscribing. If you like the content, please subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't already. And I will talk to you next time.